Welcome to the second episode of FeltovichFit, the basic standing dynamic mobility routine. If you don't want to hear me talk and you just want to start training, that's fine. Feel free to skip to the time below. I decided to make this my first workout episode because of how foundational and important this routine is. I do some variation of this routine almost every day. On my workout days, I'll do it as a warm-up before proceeding to more rigorous exercise. And on my recovery days, I'll do it either as a standalone routine or as a complement to other mobility and flexibility work, such as self-myofascial release with a foam roller. As a warm-up routine, this routine accomplishes all the goals that the research indicates a good warm-up routine should accomplish. Increase heart rate, circulation, muscle temperature, respiration, perspiration, and improve the circulation of fluid in your joints. As a standalone routine, I found that this routine decreases my joint and muscle pain and helps relieve stress. I get both acute benefits immediately after doing this workout, and more importantly, as I've done this type of training consistently over time, I found that my overall general pain and stress levels have decreased and my mobility has increased. If you suffer from osteoarthritis and degenerative joint disease like I do, or if you've had injuries and surgeries like I've had, then this type of training is especially important. Osteoarthritis and degenerative joint disease, instead of being a fact of life that you have to live with, are now viewed by the medical and fitness communities as conditions that can be prevented and actively managed with this type of training done consistently over time. In the accompanying PDF to this video, I provide resources to learn more about the science behind this video, and also resources for learning additional mobility exercises, as this routine is by no means an exhaustive collection of every mobility exercise that there is. Thank you for listening. It's time to train. What I want you to do is I want you to start off with the only piece of equipment that you need for this workout, a tennis ball. What you're going to do is you're going to stomp the ball with as much weight as you can bear, and you're going to roll it side to side. Then you're going to move along the length of the foot, stomp it again, and move along the foot, inside to outside. You're going to do that with the entire foot. The idea is you want to mobilize those tiny bones of the feet. All right, 10 seconds to recover. With all these exercises, I'm going to give you 2 angles, one on each side. You're going to pick the other foot, same thing, stomp the ball, and then work it inside and out. Do that the whole length of the foot. If you're only going to do one exercise the whole day, this isn't a bad choice. Foot mobility, very important, very underemphasized. Next, I always start off with my mobility exercises from the ground up. What we're going to do next is you're just going to pick a foot, either foot. I'm going to start with the right foot. You're going to secure the balls of the feet to the ground, and then you're going to move your ankle in the biggest circle that you can. So all the movement is coming from your ankle, your knee, and your hip. Everything else is stationary, including the balls of the feet. 10 seconds to recover. With all these exercises, use the recovery period to shake it out, rest, breathe, grab a sip of water if you need to. I'll give you a different angle on the second side. Same thing, secure the balls of the feet to the ground, move the ankle in the biggest circle you can. For this next one, I'll give you this angle first because I think you can see it better. What you're going to do is you're going to stagger one foot in front of the other, and then the leg that's in the rear, what you're going to do is you're going to move that knee in the biggest circle that you can. So the foot is flat on the ground, all the movement is coming at the ankle and the knee and the hip. All right, 10 seconds to recover, shake it out. I'll give you a different angle on the other side. Same drill, this time the other foot's out in front. You're going to take that the leg that's in the rear, you're going to move that knee in the biggest circle you can without any pain. This is great for ankle, knee mobility. It also gives your calves a nice dynamic stretch. Next thing we're going to do is you're going to take your first foot that you worked on, and you're going to put that in the rear. The top of your toes, the top of your foot is on the ground. You're moving your ankle in the biggest circle you can. If this causes pain, go ahead, use a mat like I'm doing. You can use a pillow, you can use other cushioning. If you don't do this a lot, it can be very painful just because a lot of people, they lack foot mobility and they're not used to this. I'd say if you're do combat sports, mixed martial arts, Muay Thai, just get used to it because you're going to be banging your toes a lot. I'll give you a different angle on the other side. Use this recovery period to breathe, relax, grab a sip of water. Now what you're going to do, other side, same thing. Top of the foot, I should say. Top of the toes are on the ground. Just move that ankle in the biggest circle you can. Use a wall for support if necessary. These aren't balance exercises per se. I try to do it hands-free, that way in addition to mobility you get some balance work too, but balance isn't the point of these exercises. Next we're going to do hula hoop. It's a very low impact dynamic stretch, dynamic mobility workout. All you're doing is pretending like you got an imaginary hula hoop. The feet maybe a little wider than shoulder width apart, maybe pointed a little out, but not too wide, and move those hips in the biggest circle you can. This is one of my rehab exercises after I had hip surgery. So nice, gentle, dynamic mobility stretch, dynamic mobility workout for the hips. I'll give you a different angle on the other side. You want to go in both directions. All right, breathe, recover, shake it out. That's a good one to do at your desk at work. If you've been sitting too long, just get up and do a few hula hoops. Usually after I do that, I start feeling better quickly. Next one, what we're gonna do, you're gonna elevate a knee, either knee. In my case, I'm going to elevate the right knee first, and then you're just penduluming that ankle back and forth. With these one-legged exercises, for the non-working leg, so the leg that's on the ground, you wanna make sure that the ball of the big toe, the knuckle of the big toe, is pushed into the ground. It's going to help engage your glute, help with your balance. I'll give you a different angle on the other side. Same thing, elevate the knee, then just pendulum that foot back and forth. Foot that's on the ground, remember to drive that toe through the ground. There's lots of things I could tell you to do. Those are called cues. The big toe of the standing leg, pushing that through the ground, that's kind of a keystone cue. When you do that, a lot of other things start falling into place. All right, breathe, recover, shake it out. Next, we're gonna do, I call it stirring the pot. You're gonna elevate the first knee again, and then instead of penduluming your foot back and forth, you're stirring it, switching directions on your own. If you want, one variation is you can do one set counterclockwise, one set clockwise. What I do is I just switch directions periodically. If one direction seems to give you more trouble, be a little tighter and stiffer, needs a little bit more work, feel free to do more in one direction than the other. Next, we're going to do the other leg, same thing. Elevate the knee, stir the pot. So stir it a few times one way, switch directions, stir it the other way. This one, it's a little bit technically involved. There's a lot of cues, a lot of parts of the movement. First, you're going to elevate your knee, then you're going to move it to the side, then you're going to internally rotate it to the extent you can, and you're going to kick it out to the rear, and then repeat. So the idea is all the movement should be coming from the hip. You should not be bending at the waist, you should not be bending at your back. So this is great. It's going to work flexion, abduction, internal rotation, extension. So it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife of hip mobility exercises. Again, that standing leg, I'm going to drive that big toe through the ground. And that's going to do it for the hips. We're going to start moving up the body, the upper deck, if you will. First thing you want to do is just start to mobilize those shoulders and that spine. So all I'm doing is I'm flopping my arms to the left and right, looking over either shoulder. The idea here is you want to be very relaxed. You're not forcing anything. Just want to start to gently mobilize that spine, mobilize the shoulders and the arms. Next, we're going to do some gentle shoulder shrugs. A great shoulder mobility exercise. You're just shrugging your shoulders, big circles, give you a different angle. You can move, if you want to get tricky, you can move in opposite directions, you can switch directions. The only thing moving is your shoulders, your spine. You should be in that nice, upright, neutral position. So when I say spine neutral position, I just mean if you have a person with good posture, how their spine looks when they're standing like so. Now we're gonna do some arm circles. With all your dynamic mobility work, you wanna start off slow and then up the tempo. So if you're gonna be doing something high speed, you're gonna be swinging a golf club, you're gonna be punching somebody as you would in a boxing match, MMA. You wanna start off slow, but you want to up it and go sport speed. If you do your warm up at a snail's pace and then you do something like swing a golf club or boxing or whatnot right afterwards without warming up the way you would, without warming up at the speeds you would in actual athletic events, competition, then you're setting yourselves up for injury. So start off slow and then progress up to sport speed. This next one is a great one. What you're doing is you're just extending one arm at shoulder level, and then without dropping your arm at all, turning your hand towards the ground, scraping the top of your armpit. So imagine your arm is on an imaginary table. You're not dropping the height one bit throughout the duration of the exercise. So back of the hand faces the ground, scrape the top of the armpit, and then bring that arm back out front. I'll give you a different angle on the other side. Put your arm on that imaginary tabletop, and then scrape the top of the armpit. Back of the hand faces towards the ground. Next thing we're gonna do is gonna put the sunglasses on and take them off. Your arms are about yay far apart, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your sunglasses on, then you're gonna take them off. Almost all of the movement is coming at the elbows. There's a little bit of internal and external rotation in the upper arm, the humerus. But for the most part, all the movement is coming from the elbows. You wanna move those forearms in the biggest circle you can. All right, breathe, recover, shake it out. For this next one, what I want you to do is I want you to interlace the fingers like so, and you're just gonna move those hands in the biggest circle you can. So the palms, there's no air between your hands. So your palms are touching each other. You pressed all the air out between your hands, and you're just moving your hands in the biggest circle you can. This is gonna really work your wrists. A lot of people, they sit at a steering wheel or their smartphones or their keyboard all day, and their hands and wrists typically need a lot of work. Now we're gonna polish this dynamic mobility workout off with some neck work. What you're gonna do for this first one is you're gonna look towards the ceiling, arch your upper back, externally rotate your arms, then you're gonna momentarily slump forward. So we talked before about having that nice neutral spine. This is an exception. I want you to momentarily be slumped forward. I want you to momentarily have bad posture. So the problem is not that you're slumped forward for a moment during that exercise. The problem is when you spend all your life in this position looking at your dumb phone. All right, final exercise, you're gonna do figure eights. What you're doing is you're just moving your nose in the biggest figure eight you can. Switch directions on your own. If your neck needs a little bit more work, you can do one set going one direction and one set going the other. I like to do those. I just like to alternate back and forth. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you had a great workout. I know I did. Let's finish this by talking about programming, when you should do that workout and for how long. I do some variation of that workout every day. If it's a hard training day, then what I'll do is I'll start with the standing dynamic mobility series, and then I'll proceed to my hard training. If it's a recovery day, I'll typically do the standing mobility series, and then I'll go to self-myofascial release, and then do some static stretching. As far as the acute variables go, training time, recovery time, today we did 10 seconds of recovery for every 30 seconds of activity. You can vary that, longer recovery periods, longer training periods. Also, we did pretty much a uniform total body dynamic mobility workout. If some body parts need less attention than others, you're free to omit some exercises for some regions of the body, and then perhaps double up on other exercises for other regions of the body. And then last, we did mostly everything symmetrically. Today, that is, we did equal portions, equal time on the right and the left. There's no workout law that says you need to do that if one side's more sore, more stiff than the other, etc. then feel free to give one side more attention than the others as you see fit, as you feel that you need to. Until next time, stay healthy. God bless. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments in the comments section. Thank you.